This antique synagogue and the Maronite church next to it tell the story of Biram, an ancient archaeological site and village in northern Israel, which straddles different narratives of the Israeli society. The history of Biram goes back to the 2nd century CE after the Bar Kokhba revolt. The Jewish people are spreading across the Judea area and looking for a new place to stay. As opposed to the past, this time the community settled in places far away from main roads.
They are looking now for a place that they can, going back to the roots, to the small communities, and they're looking for a very wild area which is not on the main road. It won't happen that a Persian army or Babylon army or Roman army or Christian army will pass through here. Someone will have to go into this area. By the way, not just the Jews, this is area of minorities. This allows these minorities to be in their own island, not on the main road, not in the main story of history.
The synagogue, dating to the 3rd to 5th century CE, is a magnificent structure which raises some questions about the financial structure of Jewish communities in the Upper Galilee during the Byzantine era. The fact that such an impressive structure was built here may be a mystery.
In Biram and in several other synagogues, we find a name that we know them from several synagogues in the north. The name is the family of Yoden. We find them over here, we find them in Navoria, in several other synagogues. If you check carefully, who is this family Yoden that always says, family of Yoden donate money, family of Yoden organize the building of the structure of the synagogue. Who is this family? How come she is so rich? This family is a family of Kohanim, of priests, that were serving in the temple. In the time of the Second Temple, people always were telling, oh, you know, the Kohanim are taking the money, the Kohanim are not fair, the priests are not fair, they're taking all the money. And now all of a sudden we see 200 years or 150 years after the temple destroying Jerusalem, these families of Kohanim are donating back the money, probably from the temple, for the communities to build the synagogues as a house of the community, as a house that will be the replacement of a nation which is surrounding a temple.
Inside the synagogue, we see some elements which are typical of the Byzantine era and even Roman Greek culture, which certainly influenced the Jewish culture. On the entrance of the synagogue, we see a symbol associated with Nike, the Greek goddess of victory.
So the structure of the synagogue is we have 2 stripes of pillars over here, one over here, one over there. The entrance will always be magnificent, and if it's possible, it will face Jerusalem. The direction of the people that are praying will be the direction of Jerusalem. This is the time that we start to say in each synagogue for almost 2,000 years, as a dream, as a vision, next year in rebuild Jerusalem. So people will get here. The seats usually will be in a circle. The word Beit Knesset is a house where people joining together. It's not like a church, one after the other. It's people are facing each other. We have to remember that this is the important building of the community.
The old church on the top of the hill belongs to the Maronite Church, one of the most ancient sects of the Catholic Church. Today, only few millions of Maronite Christians are left, mostly living in Syria and Lebanon.
It's a very small community that they have strong connection and good connection with the authorities of Israel. In the time of the establishment of Israel, they vote inside their community that they will go with the Jews, with the Israeli authorities, and they asking the authority of Israel to stay loyal to the promise that they give them to come back over here.
When we go down the hill, we see the remains of the old village of the Arab Christian residents of Biram, which was abandoned in 1948. Alongside another Christian Arab village, Akrit, nearby, the 2 villages are in the middle of a political saga which still echoes.
Israel says to them, you know, we're going to have a very big military operation over here in the north. The name of the operation is Hiram. We're asking you not to be involved leave your villages for 1 week, 2 weeks, go to Jesh, Gush Chalav, another village, or to your friends in Lebanon. We promise you, we sign to you, we promise you that you will come back. You are not Muslims, you're not against the state of Israel. It's a promise. They go, they wait over there in Jish. It's starting to be cold and cold and cold, and they calling and sending messengers to the Israeli authorities. Put it sad and gently, they never came back. The communities of Ikrit and Biram are still living today in Israel, and some of them abroad or in Lebanon, and they still struggling to get back the promise that the Israeli state promised them. They say, you know, we are not Palestinians, we are not against the state of Israel. Some of our sons even serve in the military forces. Let us go back to our villages. It wouldn't be a symbol that Israel agree to give back all the territories. It's just a symbol that you gave us a promise and we had an ally with you. Please respect it.
Over the years, Biram became a popular tourist attraction, as some Jewish sages are buried in the area. Meanwhile, Biram continues to be a strong historic, cultural, and even political symbol in the region.